topic of the marketing concept. Now, the marketing concept, as defined by the textbook, is organizational goals that depend on knowing the needs and wants of target markets and delivering the desired products. Okay, so that's a great definition. Books are good at making definitions. What exactly does it mean? The idea is that the path to sales and profits are going to come through your customers. Wholly that the focus around every single decision you make is based around the needs, wants, and desires of the customer. Now, it seems like a pretty basic concept to follow, but many times businesses lack the foresight and ability to follow this as a concept. When we talk about the practical application, it's easier to do this in good times than in bad times. All products and service offerings should be centered on the needs of the consumer. This does not necessarily always hold true. You're probably wondering, well, what do you mean products and services don't follow the needs of the customer? One area I'll look at in the last 5 or 6 years since we've run into this recession, double recession, depending who you're talking to and who you're listening to, what they call what we're dealing with. But all I know is that there's more unemployment, people are underemployed, people are looking for jobs, which generally means that the economy has slowed down significantly. And so you would think that businesses would be more competitive in trying to bring in more business. But I'll use the example of the grocery store. One thing I've noticed at the grocery store is before there used to be 6 or 7 lines open, and now there's 2 or 3 lines open. And it seems like there's always 3 or 4 people deep in each line every time that I go. And then they created these self-checkouts. Now clearly, the self-checkout is not part of the marketing concept. At no point in time do I believe that there's a large amount of customers who think, I really wish I knew what it felt like to work at a grocery store. I mean, they've got us there just about. Right? They've got us there just about. We get our own carts. We bring the cart in. We grab our own food off the shelves. And then we did have one luxury of service where people would bring their groceries up and bag them. Well, now we've gotten rid of that. And now we say, we feel that customers really want to know the feeling of what it means to check out their own product. And they really want the feeling of to bag their own groceries. I really don't think that there's a lot of customers that were clamoring saying, gosh, my life is incomplete because I don't check out my own groceries at the grocery store. And so the self-checkout has taken off because of a couple reasons. Number one, lines are too long, so people just say, I guess I'll go through self-checkout. 2, the service level at the checkouts, some people just, they didn't want to deal with whatever they're getting at the checkout lane, they'd just do it themselves. 3rd, it's a financial consideration. It's a lot easier for us to put in a machine that will check people out versus paying someone to be at the register. So a lot of times, this whole thing has been created with this idea that your bottom line, before you used to be able to look at 2 and 3 year trends, with all the information that's out there, all the places where you're grabbing information, people are getting, people have 2 or 3 computers set up at their home so they can see how their stocks are doing, their day trading. Investors are reacting not on a yearly basis. Sometimes they're not even reacting on a quarterly basis. They're looking at what is happening now, what is happening today. Look at any large corporation, what happens to their stock when they say, we just eliminated 20% of our workforce, or they cut back labor in some form. Generally, investors look at that favorably, saying they're cutting their bottom line. Well, when you cut your bottom line, you limit your ability to meet the need of the consumer. Unfortunately, every business has many customers. And To become a large organization, a lot of times you have to get investors to grow that business. And now those investors become customers of yours. And so the consumer side, a lot of times, pays the price. When business is good, it's easy. Sales are happening, you can get more involved with the product itself. One company that would have to say that really has developed a strong relationship with the customer, you look at a company like Apple. They're constantly updating their products, and they look at how products are being used, not necessarily bottom line pieces. And for a long time, their bottom line suffered because of their product development strategies. Well, now, the amount of money that they've put into research and develop, it's become one of the success stories, even in this economy, that continues to succeed and continue to strive because they look at what and how the customer is using their product for. This idea of the marketing concept has created this idea of the marketing mix, basically stating that there are 4 different activities that every business is going to participate in that creates the benefit of their product. And so the marketing mix is really also called the 4 Ps, which is product, place, price, and promotion. And so it's about having the right product at the right place at the right price and getting that information out to the customer, with the idea that if you miss any one of those 4 concepts, you will not successfully market your product. So, what's the role of the salesperson in the marketing concept? Well, the role of the salesperson has changed. I mean, 1950s, the salesperson was door to door. They had their little satchel, or they had their Kirby vacuum cleaner. They'd come to your door. They really weren't interested in your needs because they were going to tell you why you needed that product. And so every person became a prospect to be sold. Today's world, we need to be more consultative in the sales process. And so the customer needs to be seen as a person to serve, not necessarily a prospect to be sold. Another way to develop a partnership with the customer or with the client is not to overpower them with high-pressure sales tactics. The process involves listening to the customer first. A lot of times salespeople feel that their job is to talk. That's what they get paid to do. And so they just yabber, yabber, yabber right from the beginning. Really, if you do the process properly, the customer will tell you what product they need. And so the first thing really has to do with finding out what their needs and wants are going to be in the process. And regardless of what you do and what your role is, you need to make sure that you're providing service at every phase of the sales process. Too many times, salespeople act like they're for you and that they give you good service up until the sales closed. After the sales closed, service stops. Well, the reality is what we want to do is we don't want to sell one product to you. I want to sell this product to you over and over again. I want you to be a customer for life. And so if I'm going to develop a customer for life, I really need to make sure that I'm providing you with the highest level of service through every step of the sales process.